Ready? Welcome back to Fabrication 101. We're back, kind of back from the Stampede. The event is actually still going on. I want to give you a little overview about how this Bronco's doing. For the most part, it's doing okay, especially since it's a brand new build. I am running into some issues and my phone is ringing. Anybody want to bet whether it's my car warranty is expired?
Security Administration. The reason you have received this notice from our department
Social
because
Security
we have found some suspicious and fraudulent activity.
I don't think so.
Under your...
We'll block that. That's probably the first time in like 20 that hasn't been about my car's extended warranty. Anyway, we've run into some issues. It's a fairly new build. This was its first real off-road outing. And let's go over some of the issues we ran into. On the first kind of real trail day, we were on a trail called the Terminators, lower and upper. We went through lower just fine, got into upper, and I heard a pop. What was happening, and I guess, kind of a weird deal, all of the bolts that hold my axle flange in had worked their way loose, and 3 of them had sheared off. And when I got out to figure out what was going on, the axle shaft was sticking about halfway out of the rear end. So, fortunately not a major damage issue, just something that had to be taken care of, had to get it off the trail. Lost about 1.5 quarts of gear oil. I think I figured out what the issue was there. Hopefully we won't have any more issues with that in the future. Working forward, there really wasn't any other problems from the back. And then the third day, we were out on kind of a much easier trail. I believe it's Turkey Creek that goes up the back way to a place called the Desert Bar in Cleator. Pretty cool place if you ever get the chance to go check that out. And we were like 2/3 of the way through, kind of to the last, even moderately difficult. Not a very hard trail, to be honest, for this thing at all. Not a very difficult trail. Pretty much kind of a fun trail. Just an excuse to go do something fun. But anyway, the problem I ran into is my steering box bracket broke off. At some point I realized my steering was getting kind of weird, feeling sluggish, and I stopped to check it out and noticed that it was broken off. We did a sort of a trail fix with my Premier Power Welder where I tried to weld it as best I could without pulling the steering box off, tried to stick some random bolts in there just as a little bit of a diagonal brace. We did ratchet strap it, and we baling wired it, and it held up. It got us off the trail. Ooh, it looks like I lost a hose clamp too from somewhere in there. Anyway, it got us off the trail. I did have to go back and tow it from the bar, which wasn't too bad. I could get to it with my truck and trailer, so the event's still going on, so I want to try to get it fixed enough so that I can at least get it off the trailer and be a part of the group photo for the event. There is a little bit more of a more pressing issue, a bigger issue that I'm running into, and it is that I've lost reverse in my transmission. Now, it very well could be that the transmission's just low on fluid because it was leaking pretty good. But I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to try to fix the steering first. We're not going to do a complete fix on it. We're just going to try to stick it together as best we can so I can go back tomorrow. And then I'll put some transmission fluid in it, see if I've got reverse. I do not want to have to I'm not going to try to hit trails tomorrow. Like I said, I just want to be able to go down, take part in the events for tomorrow, and then hopefully be able to get it back on the trailer and at least be able to get it into my garage. If the reverse isn't working, I may not take it off the trailer even when I go down there, because I don't want to have to deal with all that issue, but we'll see. Let's deal with the steering first. The first thing I got to do is pull the steering box off, kind of look around, make sure I didn't damage anything else. I can already see that I'm missing a hose clamp where it looks like my steering shaft rubbed, so hopefully I didn't tear up anything else. Anyway, we'll go ahead and, I'm not going to take it completely apart. I just want to be able to get it away enough so I can get in there with a welder and try to weld up that bracket a little bit more, maybe put some better bracing on the backside, and then we'll call it good until I can get it in the shop and do a proper repair on it. So I was gonna try to film some of the event, but I got kind of focused on what I was doing, and this Bronco shakes so much when at idle that I wasn't sure I was ever gonna get any kind of decent footage. Probably should turn that the correct direction. Okay, come on. This is where the flex heads are kind of a hassle. Anyway, every time I tried, every spot I thought I could mount the cameras just shook so bad that you couldn't really see anything on them, because this little Cummins motor is a rattly little motor and a noisy little pig too. Looks like if I pull the connection, the steering nut or the U-joint here loose, I can pull it off the shaft and maybe kind of fold the box down out of the way without tearing up my hoses too bad. It looks like one of them, my feed hose, is a little bit stretched right now, but let's see if we can get it out of there. My poor little garage is absolutely bombed right now from the kind of the thrash I went through to get things ready to go to this event. And then when I came home, I guess it was last night, no, the night before last, after the second day when I broke those wheel studs off, or the not studs but the bolts and the flanges, I kind of thrashed to get that fixed. Wasn't that big of a deal, but it was still just one more thing that had to get done. Let's see, hopefully, I think this one's splined with the little thing in there, so I think I need to take this all the way out. And if I could do that and maybe tie that up over there, that should give me enough to be able to fix what I need to fix. Let's go see if I can. Ooh, don't come loose on me. I can use my broken ratchet strap. Now that we got it cleaned out enough, I can go ahead and clean all that stuff up. What's weird is it, wow, I mean, it just ripped right through the middle of that plate, kind of across where the bolt holes were. And that's a piece of 1/4 inch plate that it just kind of shredded. So I don't think it's bent too bad. So what I'm gonna do temporarily is I'll clean it up, hopefully be able to get it lined back up, and then I'll build some much better gusseting across the bottom that ties into this mount underneath the radiator support. But I think we'll be able to at least do a little bit of a fix on it, make it work a little bit better. But I was trying to weld these. I think one of them was actually a galvanized bolt up in there, from whatever we could find laying around in people's boxes and toolboxes and stuff. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get her stuck back on there, and we'll have to gusset it a little bit more from the bottom. So let's start by cleaning it up a little bit. well, it's all welded up. I didn't go crazy putting a gusset up underneath there. I just did a piece of 1/8 inch that I welded to that lower radiator mount. Should be strong enough to at least get it off the trailer and move it around if I need to. I kind of had to balance it between getting it fixed enough to move it and not creating more work for myself in the future when I go to repair this properly, because I'm going to do that. I'm going to take it all down to nice clean tube and build a whole new mount there, just so it looks a lot better and hopefully lasts a lot longer. Apparently I will have to build it stronger the second time around. We'll just have to see if I can do it without having to take everything out, like the radiator and the intercooler and all that stuff, to get in there to do the work. Because there is one issue here, and that is that the grill does not come out of this thing anymore unless I cut it in half. So anyway, we'll let it cool down, make sure I didn't start any fires, catch any cardboard or anything on fire. I wanted to protect my radiator as much as I could, and then the top shaft of the steering ram, and then my brakes and all that stuff. Just try to protect everything I can from those welding sparks. So we'll let it cool, and then the wrestling match of trying to put it all back together will begin. All right, well, it's all bolted in there. Actually, it went pretty easy. The only really kind of tricky hard part, really wasn't even the hard part, was something after the fact. Was when I was putting it in, I don't know if you guys can see it up in here, but I noticed that this jam nut for the steering U-joint was rubbing on this tube, and I think it's just because my steering box is not in there exactly where it should be. So I had to pull it out and kind of trimmed it down a little bit. I think it's going to clear fine now. Again, this is just a temporary fix, enough to make it serviceable so I can get it off the trailer. Maybe do a group photo with it if the transmission isn't acting up too much. I still got to go get some transmission fluid to put in there, but other than that, pretty happy with the way this thing ran. I'm actually really happy with the way this thing performed out there. My only real complaint is the motor is really loud. I watched a video that somebody else had posted on their Facebook page, and while this thing's driving down, you can't hear anything but this thing coming down the trail, which I guess is kind of cool. It's kind of, I don't know, some people probably not like it. Plenty of crawl power, especially in low range. It worked really well. Anyway, other than that, everything seemed to work really well. Again, this was it's kind of maiden trip, maiden voyage out there. So I'm not surprised to have run into a few issues. I do think I have the rear axle flange issue figured out. So like I said, I'm going to put some longer bolts in there and take advantage of that. But other than that, it seems to work pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video off here. And this is a little different, a little short, a little bit of a repair video because I got some other things I need to take care of today. So that I can get on the road tomorrow and try and at least get back for the last day of this event. Maybe not on the trail, but at the event, so at least people can see this rig and ask questions about it. Anyway, so I'm proud of it. I like to show it off. So anyway, we'll end this off here. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that like, subscribe button if you haven't already. Share this with your friends. Hit that notification bell or whatever that does for you, so you know whenever I post a new video. So anyway, we'll pick you guys up on the next episode of Fabrication 101. In the meantime, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and go build something.